Hello, lovely soul, and welcome to this week's angel message and card interpretation. This week's card is taken from Lucy Cavendish's Les Vampires. And the card that we are being asked and invited to consider is this one. Burnt by the sun. Ambition, extension, reach. Burnt by the sun. We are talking about vampires here. And we all know that vampires cannot go out in the sun. If they do so, they can get burnt. So what is this card telling us? What positive information can we gain from this card? Because remember, we want to gain a positive message from this card because we are working with our angels and guides, and our angels and guides are here to encourage us to step forward. So although there's parts of this card that came across as quite negative for me, I want to take those negatives so that we can turn them around to become positive, so that the angels are doing their job and they're encouraging us to step forward. There are a few things that stood out for me in this card, and I will go through them as I feel I need to go through them. But the very first thing that stood out to me was the vampire's face. Look at her expression. It's saying to me, regret. Go by the title of the card, Burnt by the Sun. I feel like she has been a little bit too ambitious. If you look, there's burgundy on the seat that she's sitting on, as well as the seat beside her. And burgundy can also often signify ambition and intensity and individuality. And it feels to me she's been a little bit too ambitious, maybe doing things her own way, her individuality coming through, which is usually a positive, but maybe in this case it's not. And as a result, she's reached far too far, far too fast, far too high, and has got burnt by the sun. So she's beginning to possibly regret that, but that's not a bad thing, because challenges in our life and things that seem to go wrong, we can turn them around and we can learn something from that. We can gain lessons from that. So sometimes whenever things go wrong in your life, if you look at it from the right perspective, you can actually learn more from something that has gone wrong, where you have been slightly burnt by the sun, than something that has gone really smoothly and really easily, because you don't usually learn a lot of lessons from things that go so smoothly. I also noticed her gown, and the colour of her gown was coming through as a royal blue. And I was thinking, well, what is royal blue? Well, the very name itself suggests some kind of nobility. And I was thinking royal blue, and the word that came into my mind was almost like a pomposity, almost like, what's the word? Oh, I can't remember the word. Pomposity, superiority, that's the word I was getting. Superiority. And it feels very much linking back to getting burnt by the sun, that she felt she needed to do something. She felt she could do it on her own. She felt that, it was her choice to do what she chose to do. And she was maybe a little bit pompous about it all, a little bit superior, possibly. There has been something in your life where you've got recently burnt, and you had family members and friends maybe suggesting that you approach this in a different manner. And you're like, no, I know how best to do this. I'm not listening to anybody else's advice. I know what I need to do, and I'm going to do it. But did you do that listening with your heart, or did your ego maybe step into play a little bit? Where are you feeling a little bit superior? I know better than everybody else. And as a result, you may have got slightly burnt by the sun, and you're feeling a little bit regretful. What I also noticed on the gown, it's not very clear, but I think it's expected not to be clear, is the pattern on the gown. And the pattern for me is a lovely brown colour, but it's not very clear, because brown for me is the colour of being natural. It's the colour of the earth, the colour of the soil, and it reminds me, go back to your natural self, go back to what feels most natural to you. And I feel that the whole idea of the royal blue and the pomposity and the ceremony and almost superiority of things has maybe taken you down the wrong path, and has led you away from how you actually would have acted if you had listened to your heart, and also considered, not necessarily done exactly what other people say, but maybe taken their advice on board and considered it at least, rather than kind of pushing it aside. I want that pattern to become stronger in the stress. And because I want this pattern to become stronger, it's saying to me, I want to get back to who I am. I want to get back to my natural self because I feel I have acted against my natural green. And therefore, the royal blue has been the stronger colour, whereas I would much prefer the natural brown to be the stronger colour. So the card is telling me as well that if you have acted and got a little bit burnt by the sun, it's a reminder for you to listen to your heart and act according to how things feel natural for you. The other thing I see on the card is the presence of a wolf, and see how she's touching the wolf? The wolf is very serene. He's just sleeping there. And that's saying to me that the wolf knows that everything's going to sort itself out. Wolves they're a pack animal, and they also rely very strongly on their instincts. So that's bringing two messages to me. It's saying you'll be fine when you listen to your instincts. Whenever you go back into your heart and you do what's natural for you, you'll be fine. Don't sweat the small stuff. You'll be okay. And then the other thing about the wolf being a pack animal, whenever a baby wolf is born, the whole pack looks after that wolf. It's almost like the whole village comes together. And that's saying to me, you're not alone. That's a really strong message. You are not alone. Yes, you may have pushed aside any advice and guidance people were offering you because you felt you knew better. Your ego and your head may have slightly got in the way in this situation, and therefore you got burnt by the sun. But don't worry about it. Just because you didn't take their advice doesn't mean to say they've walked out of your life. They are still there for you, to support you and to hold you up and cheer you on. You are not alone. And it's reminding us that no matter what happens in our life, whether our life is running smoothly at the moment or whether there's quite a few bumps in the road and maybe you're getting a little bit burnt by the sun, it's reminding us that we are not alone. Not just that we have the support of family and friends, but we also have the support of loved ones who've crossed over, of our spirit team, guardian angels, archangels, whoever we may need to call upon. We don't have to act alone. And they have, it's almost like a quiet confidence that maybe you have been a little bit overambitious. Maybe you have reached a little bit too far and therefore have got burnt by the sun. But you will have learned, they're confident that you have learned a huge lesson from this. And as a result, when you go back into your heart center, review things from a place in your heart rather than in your head, that you will act more naturally to who you are. You'll follow your instincts, and they have confidence that you're going to get this right, that everything is going to sort itself out. So although this card feels a little bit dark and negative at times because it is suggesting that you have maybe done something that has gone against the grain, maybe not in your true nature, and as a result, you've maybe been overambitious, maybe your ego has come too much into play, and we all have an ego, and as a result, you've done something and you've got a little bit burnt. And they're like, don't regret that you got burnt, turn it around and find the lesson that can be learned. And then we'll find the other side of the message is incredibly positive and uplifting as well. Move into your heart center. Move back to who you are. Work from your heart, not from your head. Do what feels instinctive to you and natural for you. And listen possibly to the advice and guidance of friends and family around you, as well as angels and spirit team and everybody. And then do what feels most right, not from a mind point of view, but from a heart point of view. And you'll get it right. We've got confidence in you.